Good morning, campers. Let's do a reading. This week, I want to do check-in with all my collectives, divine feminine, divine masculine energy, all my beautiful divine collectives. So we're going to start today. We're going to do divine feminine energy. Where are you feeling where you are? How are you feeling where you are on this journey? What's going on with you? And then we're going to do divine masculine. So starting from divine feminine, as always, please make sure that this part resonates, and if it does, then it means that it is your collective. So how is this feminine feeling? How are you feeling right now as you're watching this video? How is the feminine feeling? Let's do 4 cards. Let's do 4 cards. Good. All right. We have, what do we have? What do we have? What do we have? We have space. We have space. I am hearing with this one physical space as well. So maybe you have been taking some space for yourself to spend time on your own. Maybe you've been feeling, I'm hearing also a little overwhelmed with certain things and with the external world. So you've been needing some time on your own and some space to think, I'm hearing as well. Some space to think. We have intuition. With this one, I'm hearing that you're trying to tap into your intuition, right? So maybe you've been doing some exercises, this collective. Maybe you've been trying to really, we all have intuition, right? I always talk about this. We all have the capacity, every human on the face of this planet, we all have capacity to tap into our clairvoyance, clairsentience, clairaudience, claircognizance, and into our intuition. But our programmed mind, our overthinking mind that is brought up in the conditioned society, patriarchal society, masculine-based society, always tells us to question. If there's no tangible reason, I must be crazy, this might not be it, this might not be right. So maybe you are in realization of that, and maybe you've been, trying, maybe every time you hear something, instead of trusting, maybe it's a subtle voice of my guides, you're thinking that it's the voice from your head. But you guys, again, you know that if we do these exercises on sessions, I always say to you guys, how you hear your guides, it is your own voice in your own head. How else would they communicate? They have no physical body. They cannot influence and they cannot create a voice for you to hear. You will hear your own voice. They can use their vibration to sort of influence your vibration and your brain. But how you will hear this, you have a physical body, right? We exist on a physical plane. They exist on a spirit realm, in the spiritual plane. So they have no other way of communication but through vibration to influence our body. So we will receive these things through our physical body. So maybe that's something that you heard me say, maybe that's something that you've heard someone say, but I am hearing that you're training your intuition, you're learning to trust, you're learning to really listen. We have fear as well. That's your third card. We have 2 darker cards, and I was focusing on this color. Side note, maybe you're resonating more a little bit with darker colors. It may just be a detail for some of you, but maybe you find yourself wearing darker colors. Color carry a specific vibration, and it's very powerful, and subconsciously we gravitate towards colors that we need in our life, right? And people think that this is just, like those people that only wear black, and they think like this is just because I'm like, goth or like mystical or whatever. No, honey, you're matching that to your vibration. So someone who's truly, we really play with colors, we really gravitate towards what we need. So if you're focusing on one thing your whole life on this, or a specific period of your life, it's always for a reason. So pay attention. Our subconscious mind and our bodies are really, really wise. They know better than our mind what to choose, what to gravitate towards. But maybe you've been feeling a little bit like under a darker cloud in the recent times. With this fear, you would be still on the side of fear, right? And that's what I'm hearing. And I always explain this to you guys. Everything, when it comes down to it, it's either fear or love. right? It's either fear of love. And the path of awakening, the path of spirituality, just like the title of my beautiful oracle cards, it is moving from fear to love. It is releasing fear, doubts, conditioning, limiting beliefs, shadows, traumas, and moving towards the frequency of her soul, the frequency of the universe, the frequency of love, right? So I feel this collective, you may be sitting still more on the side of fear. So maybe there are many things that recently you've been feeling fearful about, whether that's your connection, whether that's your life situation. Maybe you find yourself being afraid quite a lot. And we have passion. That's your last card. I want to do another row just real quick. But I'm hearing with this passion, just like with this passion and intuition, those would be the two things that you would be focusing on. So maybe you want to ignite passion within you. Maybe you're a little tired of, feeling fearful, feeling down, feeling bad. Maybe you're trying to think about what really brings me joy in life. And I always say this, passion is our greatest compass and our greatest guide on a journey towards our mission, right? And we just have to trust it, and we have to trust the process. When you're passionate about something, it doesn't mean that specific thing will end up being your life's mission, but there's stepping stones. So we should just trust and really follow our passion. Space. Comfort. Yeah, I feel like you've been needing comfort. So maybe you're reaching out for comfort foods. Maybe you're staying home. Maybe you're really you wouldn't want to put yourself right now in a situation of distress, in a situation where you wouldn't feel comfortable. You need this comfort right now. So maybe you are in this flight mode. Maybe you are in this survival mode. Maybe you are sitting in this fear, and you really need, even like in the physical, to feel comfortable. We have faith, that's on top of that intuition. It's nice. I feel like you, this collective, despite the fact that you are under a darker cloud, you are on a vibration, on that lower vibration, unfortunately, of fear. There is something within you, within your voice, that is telling you, I know it's going to get better. I know better times are coming. I know what goes down must go up. I know how I feel today, it's not going to last forever. Even if it's not going to change tomorrow, it's beautiful. So there's really magic within you that it's that untapped magic and untapped potential that you need to discover. But I feel like there's a silent voice within you that is saying to you, just keep the faith. Keep the faith. You're protected. Fear. What you're fearful about. Love. So this collective right now, you would be focusing on a person connected to you, and you would be very fearful about this. It's like, I'm hearing nothing paralyzes you as the thought that you would never see your person again, or that you would not end up being with your person. And this is making me feel that this collective, divine collective in the beginning of the journey, that I'm tapping one of my collectives that are in the beginning of the journey, where you're still in longing, where you're still in your darkest dreams. You couldn't imagine that it's not gonna happen, right? So your biggest fear would be activated by mystery. But I also wanted to say, you guys, this is it. This is what I said. From fear to love. We're moving from fear to love. We're moving from fear to love. This is the journey of healing, right? True love never fears. True love doesn't know the emotion and the frequency of fear. So accept within your heart that whatever you're fearful about, it's coming from a place of shadow. It's coming from a place, something that you can and you will heal. And we have mystery. Maybe you that came with that passion. Maybe you are wondering right now, you may be a little bit lost, but despite the fact that your focus is on your person and on the emotion of love, I feel like you would realize, this collective, that this journey comes with a greater purpose, that this journey comes with a discovery of oneself, with discovery of mission. So maybe you would wonder, what is my mission? Who am I gonna be when I grow up? Maybe you even watch collectives. You watch other divine feminines who read for divine love. Side note, I always say this to you guys. If you ever want to listen to anyone talk about twin flame, divine love, only fraction of true divine feminines who's been through this journey are connected to that path, and it's part of their mission to help others to reach union. So really be careful who you listen to. There's a reason it's coming to my mind, because when we're in the beginning of this journey, we crave information because we're not yet connected to our intuition, right? We're connected to our fear. So we want confirmation, and it's absolutely okay. I say this to you guys in the beginning of this journey and every journey. When you're bathing in your shadows, you need guidance, and it's okay to get a mentor, a healer, and work with someone. It's only going to get you to the end point, to the other side of the bridge faster, in a easier and more effective way, right? But when we're in the beginning, even if you connect to an actual healer on like every 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, we literally crave information so much that sometimes we spend all days watching collectives and watching information on twin flames. If you cannot help yourself, it's fine, but just please make sure that who you're watching are really strong, fierce, empowered, balanced, healed, divine feminines whose life's mission is connected to leading twin flames, not just random people who go out there and think that they know things about that and about that extremely rare journey and talk about it, because you're just gonna get confused, right? And that fear is going to enhance. They're going to feed your fear. And the most popular content creators, not all, there are some beautiful divine feminists who have huge platforms, and it's wonderful, and it makes my heart happy. But this platform loves this emotion, unfortunately, and other social media, right? So we gravitate more towards fear and towards easy solutions and towards you know what I mean. So just be careful. But I feel like you would know that this journey comes with a mission. It comes with a purpose. It comes with, again, self-discovery. So you wouldn't know what your mission is going to be, but I feel like you are thinking about what's it going to be, like what it could be. Maybe you cannot even imagine. Maybe you look at other divine feminines, especially those that are like psychic shamans, and you're like, could this be me? Could this be my journey? What's going to be my journey? Who am I going to become in this beautiful, amazing gift of a process? All right, let's quickly tap into what's going on. Do we want to do this? Yeah, we want to do this. I want to do this. Just really quick, maybe just 5 cards. What's around your energy in the physical world? All right, that's beautiful. We have butterfly. So you are on a journey of transformation. You are on a journey of change. You are transforming. I feel like this collective, despite the fact that you may not be seeing these changes and transformation within you just now, I feel like you are in realization that this is a journey of self-evolution, right? This is a journey where you're gonna change, where you're gonna transform, healing inner child. So maybe that's something that you're doing as well. It's a first step. Shadow work, inner child, father wound, mother wound. It's the things that we start from, right? Inner child is usually step 1. So maybe that's something that you've been thinking about. We have hands of cards, take a chance, risk, being strategic, options not showing. I was thinking with this one, I was seeing a mask. So it's not strategic in the sense of, this vicious, cold strategicness. but I feel I was hearing that you're not yet in your authentic self. So whether that's with other people, whether that's with your person, you would be very much in the beginning of this journey. You wouldn't even be able to be yourself because you're sitting in that fear. When we're sitting in fear, we're afraid to be ourselves in front of other people because they're going to leave us, they're going to abandon us, they're going to judge us, you name it, right? Because you're yet on a lower vibration of fear. And these two came together, seduction and cassette. So nostalgia, sort of a past memories. Maybe you are thinking about your person, about moments when you cave into their seduction. Maybe it's been a while and you've been recently thinking to yourself, would the same thing happen? It's like when we do growth, when we progress on this journey, right? And on this journey, whether you are in and out or full on separation, we are spending prolonged periods of time without our person. It's not like we see each other every single day. It would be too overwhelming. And sometimes, like a month, 2 months, 3 months pass by and we're doing growth, we're doing healing, we're changing. But sometimes we think to ourselves, if they pop up, would I react in the same way? Because those check-ins with your masculine are your ultimate test. Sometimes we change internally, sometimes we change how we react on external world, on other people, but that divine is the ultimate mirror, I always say this to you guys. Sometimes when we're not knowing what direction to go, this is when they pop up to really show us what we still haven't healed, what we still haven't figured out, right? But I also feel like you may be just thinking, maybe recently your mind has been a lot about moments that you spent together, the temptation, the dating. We have third party interference, so maybe it's something that it is on your mind. Maybe you know that your person was connecting to other women, or is currently in a third party connection, and it's something that you're thinking, evaluating. I'm also hearing that you may be having, it may be a detail, but you may be having some memories related to when you were together. Maybe you're questioning, why is it, it's like, I love this person, it's the other part of me. And your last card is twin flame, so it's like your confirmation. This is like a true twinny collective, right? So this collective, if you are not 100% sure or like crystal clear, it's probably not your collective. I feel like this collective, you would know this. So you either had a psychic reading, or you really reached, there's a reason I was talking about actual divine feminines. It's like you would have done your research. So at minimum, you would have browsed through contents of true divine feminines. Like I myself have a playlist on my YouTube. The playlist is called Twin Flame versus Karmic Catalyst, and it goes like, there's I think like 12 episodes going through every point. How do you really know this is your twin flame? So you either have done your research or you already had a psychic reading. I'm hearing that this is in fact it. But I was thinking that maybe you're thinking to yourself, okay, this is it. This is the other half of my soul. I love this person so much. I want to be with this person. Why is it that every time that we are together, I don't know how to be myself? I'm so afraid, because you're in shadows. We tend, us divine feminines, when we are with our person, when we are with a person that, our twin flame, in the beginning of this journey, because we know their flight risk, that they're in avoidance, that they're runners, that they're probably going to disappear, we walk on eggshells. We are afraid to be ourselves, because usually we feel that we're triggering them, that we're saying something that it wasn't anything bad, it was just me being me, and suddenly he gets triggered, right? So because we are so in longing and we don't want to lose them, oftentimes, sometimes it's conscious, sometimes it's subconscious, but we're just afraid to be ourselves. We're also so obsessed with them and so in longing that we're afraid that we're not good enough, right? They don't, oftentimes they don't realize it, because it's usually the masculine that embodies deeper a low self-esteem. But oftentimes we are in front of them, and am I pretty enough? Am I smart enough? Am I funny enough? Am I entertaining enough? Am I young enough? Am I sexy enough? And it's like we're very self-conscious. We cannot just relax, because it's our shadows, because they activate every single self-doubt, every single shadow that needs to be transformed, that needs to be healed. So as much as we want to be ourselves, right, because our souls recognize each other and crave for each other, we cannot really just relax because we're afraid that we're gonna push them away, that we're gonna, do you know what I mean? So maybe you've been thinking about these moments. Okay, I want to do where you are on your journey, what you're going through, what you're working through. We're gonna do a little shadow work. So let's see, what's been your focus? I want 4 cards, and you're gonna do tarot on top of that. Inner child healing, confirmation. That's the 2nd time. So that would be a very important detail. One more. We have a lot of shadows, so maybe you have been doing your shadow work. Okay, what do we have? Very nice. First card, this number 2, is your inner child healing. So this collective, you, in some shape or form, you would be doing inner child healing. You would realize, this collective, that most of our wounds and most of our shadows, they originate in childhood, when we are still vulnerable, when our body and our spirit haven't really had the time to blend. We are not yet self-aware, we're not yet conscious, but we are like sponges, right? So everything that happens, it gets absorbed into our brain, into our mind, into our energy points, into our energy body. And this is where, because we don't have this consciousness, right, our automatic defense mechanisms are formed. So we're being faced with pain, disappointment, suffering, distress, and this is where your patterns are created, your karmic patterns, behavior patterns, attachment styles, your wounds, right? So you would know this collective, and I feel like you are revisiting your past, maybe moments when, I always say this to you guys, my best technique to do this is through separation. So separate that inner child from you. Give him her name. Talk to her. Spend time with her. Reassure her. Give her everything that she did not receive. And in consequence, these wounds were created. But it's a good thing. It's a good thing. We face fears, disappointment, pains, and traumas, and our body starts to build subconscious armor of automated patterns. You're smart, this collective. I feel like you would not be aware of this maybe at this point, but you're very self-aware. Like many people, they go on, they stay for years in this denial, in this like pain, this suffering, without realizing that it all started in childhood. Most people are so fearful to go back into that childhood and really examine it. So you're very smart, and you're very fierce. I feel like this is one of these collectives that you're really not giving yourself enough credit. Powerful collective. Number 2 is shamanic healing. That's number 15. So maybe you resonate with shamanic practices. Maybe you even went for a shamanic healing session, for a shamanic energy healing session. Maybe you just we're all, I always say this, right? All healers, true healers, so people who went through, like that 5% that went through true Kundalini awakening to become a channel and to carry a mission to help others, right? We are all shamans, because shamanism is nothing more than being a bridge between two worlds, being someone that can at will reach beyond the veil, right? Someone who has access to other realms, to higher realms, right? And how you do it, whether it's through traditional shamanic practices or for mediumship or for psychic sessions, other gifts that you have, truly all healers are shamans. But with that shamanic healing, maybe you do resonate with that path. And I for whatever reason, I'm hearing music. So maybe, some people say that music doesn't activate us. My personal universal truth is that music activates us. Music helps us to understand our ancestral line and our roots. So if you're someone that whenever you hear like shamanic drum, like to me there's no better sound than a shamanic drum. Like you guys know, like every night I just like hit that drum, and that's my best thing to do, my favorite thing to do. And it's always an indication. Music is a vibration. We respond. There's a remembrance of our past lives within our body, within our womb. So if you are someone that when you hear the sound of shamanic drum or the flutes, or this really like this shamanic journey kind of music, and something within you gets awakened, something within you gets activated, there might be something in it. We have karmic clearing number 31. So maybe you are maybe you're doing some sort of a karmic clearing. Maybe that's something that you've been thinking about. Maybe it was also brought to your attention how much our past relationship and karmic relationship, not just romantical relationship, but overall influence our energy. I want to sort of read through this. I'm guided to read through this. If you pull this card, there may be karmic energy in your life that needs to be released. Remember, karmic energy may have many forms. It may be pattern, valuable life lesson, or trigger that subtly pushes you to strengthen your boundaries or love yourself a little better. Karmic energy exists for a purpose, and it's very valuable on our journey of growth. Notice, learn, and release. Perhaps there is someone in your life who is trying to teach you a lesson, or a friend you have outgrown, an ex-partner you still haven't released, or a family member you haven't fully forgiven, or a pattern you are unwillingly repeating. Look closely. I am hearing for this collective that you're not looking close enough, to be honest. So maybe when you hear karmic clearing, your mind automatically go to past partners' cords, right? Karmic experiences, painful karmic experiences. But I was sort of drawn to the word patterns. I feel like for this collective, you're going to have some karmic patterns that you would have been repeating from lifetime to lifetime. And that's something that you need to look at. So don't look at a person right now. If you want to do some sort of analysis and karmic clearing, don't look at a person, look at a pattern. What is the pattern that your existence, your soul, that in different lifetimes is repeating? Because karma has variety of shapes and form. And we have mother wound. Three of your 4 cards are healing, and there's sort of a with the inner child, with mother wound. I feel like you really jumped on horse of healing. So maybe you're examining the relationship with your mother. There's a reason I said in the beginning that we start from inner child, mother wound, father wound. We all have these, okay? I don't care what anyone says. And I always say this to you guys. If your mother and your father were not true divine pairing, if you were not a child of twin flames or higher soulmates in divine union, so think about this. How many people at this point? There's a fraction of twin flames and higher soulmate, because it requires healing. It requires alignment, right? So very few people will be able to say, I don't have father wound, mother wound, because I was raised by a conscious, healed individual in their divine energy, right? And even though we still can have little bits and pieces, but mother wound, father wound, they come from caregivers who from a distortion within their energy. So it's not necessarily something very harsh and very abusive. 99% of people will have father wound, mother wound, and will need inner child healing. Okay, so let's tap into your energy right now. Let's dive a little deeper. This may be a bit of a long reading, but I always say this as it was a bad thing. I'm giving you a free reading and bits of my time, and I don't know why I feel guilty for it. It's like it's a long one. We should be grateful, right? Queen of Wands in reverse. Shamanic healing. Queen of Swords. Page of Cups in reverse. 7 of Coins. All right. Seven of Swords in reverse. You have two queens as your first cards, right? So it's making me feel like you really would be going inwards. You really would be working on your internal world. You really would be trying to understand certain patterns, certain human nature. I'm hearing human nature. And you guys, I always say this. If instead of ridiculous, classes of religion and social work, whatever is it that they give you in school in your country, they would do base, like one-on-one, even psychology, right? To understand human nature, to teach our children about woundings, about armor, about behavioral patterns, about consciousness, world would be a better place. Just side note, maybe that's something that you were thinking about, like, this is so basic, why are we not teaching each other that from early childhood, right? But we are entering an era that things will change, because the more of us heals, our children will have a better setting to grow in, and we will create a better world. And I don't just mean physically our children. You may be someone that you're not going to have children, or you don't want to have children, but you will interact with children of your friends and family members, with people out there. So through changing ourselves, we really are changing the world. I'm hearing a couple of things with these. With that mother wound, with that inner child as well, and those two queens that are quite harsh queens, right? Even if they weren't like in reverse, these two are a little bit more harsher energies than the Queen of Pentacles, even in reverse, and the Queen of Cups. Maybe you are examining women in your life, that mother figure, the model of a mother. I feel like this collective, you might have had a lot of, it's like you didn't have this really truly soft, balanced feminine energy in your life. There's a lot of pessimism in the energy here. There's a lot of sort of my way or hit the highway, a bit of coldness, to be honest. Maybe someone with a bit of a temper as well. And I feel like this collective, you adapted this behavior, but not so much towards others, but towards yourself. So how you were treated by women in your life, I feel like this is how you are treating yourself, but not necessarily others. I feel like this collective, you have more kindness towards others than you do towards yourself. And again, we have that inner child wounds. It's an important detail for this collective, so don't make this fit. If you are not contemplating on inner child healing, if you're not actively starting to, dive into the topic of inner child, of wounds, of core wounds that we all carry, this is not your collective. I feel like with that karmic clearing, maybe you actually are, come on. This construction just it refuses to end, really. Sorry. Maybe with the karmic clearing, you actually are analyzing all your past relationships. It's not just your exes, but also, your caregivers, your family members. And I feel like you are realizing, this collective, that you are a bit of a doormat for people. I'm sorry if this triggers you, but that's what I'm hearing. That you really are very prone to get manipulated, to get emotionally manipulated, to be like moved around and to do what people tell you to do. But what I am liking in this energy is that you understand that healing is a process. Again, it only shows your wisdom. It only shows your wisdom, that you understand that certain things, they will require patience with yourself. Certain things will require investment, which means that you're going to have to invest time in yourself. You're going to have to invest money, maybe in healing sessions, maybe in some self-help books, maybe in some, self-paced sort of materials and exercises, that you will have to plant a seed and wait for certain things to develop. That these kind of things don't happen from one day to another. Queen of Wands, Two of Cups, I'm hearing, it's not in reverse, but I'm hearing, unfortunately, that this collective, I don't think you could think of a single person in your life for a prolonged period of time that would give you reciprocated love and reciprocated energy. You would be someone who is very loving and very forgiving, you would embody the Queen of Cups energy. Very soft, very loving, very also like just peaceful. There's this person that never enters, like any conflicts. It's like all you ever wanted in life is to find another one like you. I'm gonna start crying. But you guys, I have, this is something that goes back in a few of my collectives, and I have a couple of ladies that I work with that embody this energy. And you know that I say this to you guys all the time. This energy is beautiful, but it is in some way distortion, because when we truly love ourselves, boundaries come naturally. We don't allow in our energy people who don't give us reciprocated love. So when you're truly sitting in your healed Queen of Cups, and you truly are in your divine feminine, whether you're man or woman, your inner feminine is healed. You want to give love unconditionally. You're not asking for anything in return. You're going to give love, compassion, kindness, right? Forgiveness, But in the same time, you're going to have standards high and a self-love. So the moment you're going to see that the person is not reciprocating that energy without resentment, without pain, without aggression, you're just going to be like, okay, well, this must mean that this is not a place for me to be. I'm going to take my bags and I'm going to go elsewhere. And I'm going to go elsewhere. 3 months. Maybe 3 months is important for you. Maybe you have like, it's almost till the end of the year, or am I exaggerating? October, November, December, well, a little bit more. So maybe until the last year, you should focus on that inner child healing, on that mother wound, on addressing that, that people pleasing, that lack of self-love, lack of boundaries. And if you really do, I always say this, you guys, if you put yourself on a journey of healing with true dedication, true consistency, daily work, regular work sessions with your healer, especially on a twin flame journey, because we're so powerful, and the energies, the divine protection, the destined path that we carry behind us, you wouldn't believe how you can change every month. So it's like you start today and you already started this collective. By the end of the year, you're going to be a completely different person. Page of Swords. I feel that this is on top of the shamanic healing. You guys, I feel that you wouldn't even realize that you have an extremely powerful mind. Extremely powerful mind. I'm getting chills. Like, the energy I'm connecting to is someone that you wouldn't even believe. Like, once you really remember who you are, that's what we always say, you will literally think of something and it will be happening. It's like the power. You know how I always give you guys these exercises to work with plants? I've done a video about this, or, like send your energy, or with that aluminium foil, right? It's about the power of your mind, believing the power of your mind, trying to influence on things. I feel like you have such a powerful mind that you will really, I'm seeing just this really old soul in this combination of You have such a strong humility within you, right? You're a humble soul. You would never, I don't feel with this collective there would be risk of becoming like cocky and I will heal you humans. And it's really hard, you know, when you really discover and tap into your power. It does for most of us. It does like is somewhere in the background, right? Because this is why sometimes our journey is designed to cultivate the humility, because without humility, what you have is charlatans out there, okay? But I feel like you have an extremely powerful mind. I just want to do 2 more because I really don't want to make like prolong this. We have 6 of Cups. And the Fool, the new beginning, the new beginning.